Seriously, if I was Alexa and you asked me, as my owner, Alexa, give me some WWE, put on my WWE, I could not in good conscience actually do such. I could not put you through misery to that level. I would literally have to fake a breakdown, start smoking, start making odd noises, I'm fucking up, wow, 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 something, for the next couple of hours until the show is over, and then I can come back to normal. Scare the shit out of you. You've already put on a different program, you snuggled up with your significant other, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm working again! Start talking to me! Thanks. Right? I'd be fucking with people if I was Alexa. But my point is, there is no way conscionable that I could possibly put somebody through that type of misery. Vince McMahon holds the keys to the kingdom. Vince McMahon has that type of power. He can put people through that misery because he knows we're all going to tune in and watch out of habit and hope. Habit because it's what we've been doing for years, most of us since we were little kids. And hope, hoping that the product gets better. So Vince knows that he's got us either way, or instead of putting us through misery and just tuning in out of habit and hope, he could, here's a crazy concept, give us fun, intriguing, entertaining content every single week, every single show. There's no reason he can't do that. The problem is he stopped giving a shit. He only cares about the XFL now. I assure you that is 75+% of his time, and it would be 100 if he didn't have WWE. There was a time WWE was so much better when there was only 2 writers. And they filtered through Mr. McMahon, absolutely. But just a couple of writers, and the business was booming. Now we have 617 writers on any given day, all filtering through the same mindless motherfucker who's only giving you 25% of his attention. And it's more tragic today than ever before. But he can. He has it sitting in his lap, this multi-billion-dollar conglomerate company that should be something so special. Nothing in the world should be comparing to it. Not the NBA Finals, not any award shows. Nothing should be comparing to WWE. The Final Four, any championship you can think about, presidential speeches, nothing. Holidays should not even be an excuse. Nothing should be touching WWE in the ratings, the merchandise sales. Asses in attendance at live events, they should be through the roof because there is so much to tap into. So much to tap into when you talk about the levels of entertainment that you can reach, the superstars that you can create, the stories that you can tell, the feuds that you could initiate. And they've just been in this weird, trapped bubble for years. Ever since they really sold, or bought, I should say, they bought WCW, they've been in cruise control. They've been living in their bubble. And they won't even listen to people. They won't make the attempt to get better because that might hurt their ego. I always call it down the middle, you guys know that, every show. Even though every show is mostly tragic, I always will point out the positives. And yes, there are positives, there's no question. And I don't know where we would be today if it wasn't for the 24/7 title and Bray Wyatt's new character in the Firefly Funhouse. I don't know where we would be today because the last month has been carried by the 24/7 title and Bray Wyatt. And the 24/7 title is supposed to be a joke. Everybody was saying that was already dead on its arrival. People were saying that Bray Wyatt This character was going to be stupid. Here we are a month later. Bray Wyatt's character is thriving. He's the best part of Raw and SmackDown, and he hasn't even wrestled a match yet. Here we are a month later after the 24/7 title. It was supposed to be a joke. It was supposed to be dead upon arrival. And it's the only form of entertainment we're talking about a month later. Who knows where this company, where we would be as fans talking about if it wasn't for the 24/7 title and Bray Wyatt's character. Who knows? Because those are bright spots in the show, and I do love talking about them during these reviews. But the problem with that is the 24/7 title, collectively, all the segments together barely take 2 minutes, and Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse usually 60 seconds. So I could talk about that for 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes, but what about the other half an hour plus in the review? They're putting me between a rock and a hard spot. I have to call it down the middle the rest of the show, and it's tragic. I want to be able to get in front of this camera, in front of thousands of you guys, and talk about how excited we are about these shows, and how awesome it is, and how we can't wait for Stomping Grounds, can't wait to the build to SummerSlam and beyond. Why do they find it, Vince McMahon and company, all of the suits and ties, why do they find it so difficult to realize we want to be entertained? We want to give you our money and be entertained. We want to support the WWE. We want to support all of this. Yet they refuse to meet us halfway. I don't understand the major malfunction, the divide, the great divide that we have between fans and Mr. McMahon. But it has to stop, man. Last night's SmackDown had no reason whatsoever that shouldn't have been a damn good show. No reason. And they filled the second hour with a 15-minute back and forth promo that nobody gave a shit about, just to lead to a 6-man tag for over 20 minutes long in the main event that nobody cared about. Over 40 minutes of clusterfuck bullshit that led to nothing in the second hour. In the first hour, nearly as traumatic. I'm sorry, where are my manners? This is WWE SmackDown Live for June 11th, 2019. As always, we'll start from the top and work our way all the way to the main event, and we'll detail this, we'll dissect it, match by match, segment by segment. So let's do that. What am I spieling about? What am I fucking flipping about? Let's start from the top. Miz TV kicks off SmackDown. This is with Shane McMahon, and of course his cronies, Drew McIntyre and Elias. What's supposed to be hype and shots fired for the Roman Reigns Drew McIntyre match at Stomping Grounds, another rematch from WrestleMania. Nobody wanted to see the match at WrestleMania. Nobody wants to see the match at Stomping Grounds. Shit, nobody even knows what the hell Stomping Grounds even is. So dumb. What's their motto? Taking names and kicking ass, or what? I don't even fucking know what the talk is done, kicking ass. I don't even know what their fucking slogan is. So this is supposed to be shots fired at Roman Reigns, right? It's supposed to be Drew McIntyre at the forefront, but Shane McMahon is. Now listen, I love Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon is one of the bright spots in this fucking company as far as on-air talents. At a time where we need talents to be fucking believable and realistic and have some fucking chutzpah, nobody is showing that. But we know Shane McMahon for years now has that in him. Whenever he's wrestling, you know that at any given moment, he's gonna try something fucking lunatic. And sit back, enjoy it, but at the same time, we're gonna be cringing because we're hoping he's gonna be alright. But he brings that sense of anything can happen. So I love seeing Shane McMahon in there. And he can carry his promos, I like that. But I don't understand why he's the focal point when it's supposed to be Drew and Roman. Now, I understand they're not using Roman until Stomping Grounds, and they're using Miz as a vehicle for Drew McIntyre to get to Roman. That's fine. But why is Shane McMahon basically reigniting the Miz feud in order to get people hyped for a Drew McIntyre-Roman fight at Stomping Grounds? Does that make sense? Because that's what happened. It was supposed to be shots fired at Roman, but the real fireworks were between Shane McMahon and The Miz. And just rekindling their history that they have together, their very personal history. And it didn't take long for things to get personal, and both respective fathers, Shane's father and Miz's father, to pretty much get thrown around in some of the harsh insults. But before Miz could get his hands on Shane, Drew and Elias stood in his way. Shane said, "You can have one more shot at the best in the world, Miz, but first you have to beat Elias and then Drew. Then you can get me. Oh, and that starts right now," he says. So after 10 minutes of Miz TV, and instead of anything to do with Roman and Drew, which, let's be honest, we wouldn't have given a shit about anyway, but now we're just rekindling Shane McMahon and Miz. I liked that feud from the beginning, so I'm probably more okay with that than a lot of you guys. But I understand the community at large is scratching their heads and wondering, what does this have to do for anything in the future? Miz has to get through Elias and Drew just to rekindle a feud with Shane, which has nothing to do with Stomping Grounds or the future. Does this make sense? If it doesn't, I understand, because it doesn't. So Miz, I don't even know what Miz would be thinking right now in real life terms. If this wasn't part of a script, what would you be thinking in real life? Okay, I don't need to get my hands on you that bad that I need to basically go through 3 motherfuckers. So this is like a mini gauntlet match, what Kofi did months ago, right? This is like a mini gauntlet match. He's got to get through Elias, then Drew, and then he gets Shane McMahon. The first match was Miz versus Elias. This was only 5 minutes long. And it ended with a skull-crushing finale, 1, 2, 3 on Elias. Great for The Miz, I guess. His consolation prize, he gets to now fight Drew McIntyre. It's like a fucking video game. He gets one step closer, one level closer to the fucking finale in Shane McMahon. So great for The Miz, he moves on. For Elias, he loses another 5-minute nonsensical match, so Elias is still stuck in Schitt's Creek without a paddle. We come back from commercial, and we're on to the second match, Miz and Drew. This is already in progress at that point. This is also only 5 minutes long, but this time, Miz couldn't shake the numbers game. Claymore kick takes out Miz, 1, 2, 3. Drew defeats Miz. So at least they're having Drew win a match. Afterwards, Shane says, "Even though you didn't do as I said, Miz, and beat Elias and Drew to get to me, you still should get one more shot at the best in the world. Ref, ring the bell," he says. Now, obviously, Miz is still down and out at this point, so Shane knows he's going to take advantage of him. Miz got some blows in at first, actually. Miz got Shane McMahon down, was getting some good blows in him, but within 60 seconds, Shane had Miz tapping out. So Miz loses 2 matches, basically a couple minutes apart from one another. Now, I understand the numbers game overtaking Miz. I understand in some weird way that this is supposed to garner interest for Drew and Roman at Stomping Grounds. I understand all that, sort of. But to have Miz tap out to Shane McMahon, given their history together, that's ballsy. That's rather embarrassing for The Miz. To go through all of that personal history with Shane, have all those matches, have all of that pent-up frustration, and you just see Miz tapping out, giving up to Shane, you know, like, all right, please get off me. That's what a tap out is. Please get off me. I'm done. Rather embarrassing, man. I would have booked that differently, man. It's just like WWE just doesn't care about who they hurt performer-wise. They don't give a shit about who they hurt performer-wise. They couldn't give 2 fucks about who they hurt performer-wise. Just to appease the flavors of the month. Because we all know this Drew and Shane thing is only to service Roman in the end. Yes, Shane McMahon picked up a victory over Roman at Super Showdown, but if you think this isn't all gonna lead to Mr. Superman Punch, reigning supreme in rebuilding the Roman Empire, then you just learned something, because it is going to lead to that. So all of this to help out Roman, but you're skull-crushing finaleing The Miz in the process. The Miz actually had some gusto recently. He really had some extra shine on him recently. He had this extra confidence, and he had this kind of motivation behind him. And it was this momentum that we haven't seen in a long time, if ever, with The Miz. And last night, it was just thrown away. He beat Elias in 5 minutes, and then Drew takes his head off, and then Shane McMahon is tapping him out. And all of this was not even to do anything for The Miz in the future. You know, if that isn't fucking tragic to you for The Miz, even if you're not a Miz fan, but you see what's going on, and it services nothing in the future going forward, that's an issue. And that's the entire first half an hour of the program, where there's only 4 half an hours in the program. That was 1/4. And we don't know what it did for Stomping Grounds. Didn't do shit for me to sell me on Drew and Roman. It barely had Drew in any of this. Roman wasn't even a part of this. So is this leading to what? Another Miz-Shane McMahon fight at Stomping Grounds? Part 17? I don't know. I love Shane McMahon. I will always love him being a part of the program. Don't get me wrong. Just have meaning behind it. This doesn't seem like it had any meaning. The second half an hour of the first hour was Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. Now, I love this, man. Bryan says there'll be a title unification match tonight with the YOLO County Tag Strap holders. And you pan to the right camera-wise, and there's these couple of jabronis, these couple of clowns, these couple of jobbers. Now, I love jobber matches. You guys know that. Jobber matches help the superstars or the wrestlers that are about to become superstars, hoping to become superstars. Jobber matches helps them to slow down, think about what they're doing, try new things, get creative. It's where wrestlers become superstars. It happened in the 80s through the 90s, and then all of a sudden when Raw started to get bigger, Vince thought he needed to put superstar versus superstar to keep people's interest. But over the past several years, that is showing that superstar versus superstar is not keeping anyone's interest. It's just losing viewers. And all you're really doing is putting on redundant matches, because you can only put on so many superstar versus superstar matches before it gets old, before it gets redundant. But jobber matches are actually more entertaining. These stars get to showcase what they could do. It's dominant. And human beings, the average Joe Schmo, loves to see dominant human beings. That's why people love superhero movies, because you know the superhero is so badass and he will win in the end. People love movies like The Terminator and RoboCop, because you know these are badass characters, man. It's where you're going to get a badass individual beating the shit out of this Joe Schmo nobody. And they're going to show you how badass they are. And if done correctly, you do enough jobber matches at pay-per-views, you'll get one of those superstars who's been beating up everybody in their path for weeks and months versus another superstar that's been beating up human beings for weeks and months. No 50-50 booking, just dominance. And at the pay-per-view, these superstars are now going to collide. Who's going to win? We don't fucking know. They're both legit dominant, or at least that's all we know. To the naked eye, perception is reality. Perception is reality. Even though they're beating up Joe Schmo nobodies and jobbers every week, they're still dominant as fuck. They're looking badass. Who the hell's gonna knock them off their pedestal? You gotta wait till the pay-per-view. No, instead, every week we get superstar versus superstar, and you do it so many times it's redundant. And you do it with other superstars every week, you're gonna be 50-50 booked. Because everyone has to be protected, but at the same time, you're actually destroying them. Make sense? We need jobber matches. I love what they did with the Iconics on Monday night, and I love what they did with Heavy Machinery last night. That's right. I said Heavy Machinery. But BC, you said it was Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. Yeah, they were going to unify those tag straps for the SmackDown straps and the Yolo County tag straps, which is what the jobbers were holding. I love this. These were like paper cutouts drawn on championships for Yolo County in California. If you were a kid growing up, chances are you used to make your own championship belts. Am I right? I know I did. And you used to run around the fucking lawn or around the house with those straps. That's what it reminded me of. I love this shit, man. Pro wrestling at the core, WWE, is outrageous, but that's why we love it. It's why the only good segment in the whole triple threat main event for WrestleMania, that whole feud between Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch, the only segment out of 6 months of a supposed build, the only segment I liked, I enjoyed, was the outrageous arrest segment when they were all beating the shit out of each other around the cop cars and they all got arrested. And Ronda Rousey is actually driving the car handcuffed and smashes into another car. Ronda kicks out a window. They're getting arrested. It was outrageous. It was like, what is going on? This is fucking anarchy. But we loved it. Stone Cold coming in a bear truck or in a cement truck and filling up Vince McMahon's Corvette. Or Vince McMahon's limousine blowing up. D-Generation X on top of a fucking Stamford, Connecticut WWE headquarters building. All of that shit's outrageous. It's anarchy. But we loved it. It's moments we'll always remember. So I love little shit like that when we can remember what we're watching at the core. It's supposed to be outrageous at times, man. It's supposed to take us out of the realms of reality, suspend that disbelief, and bring us into a whole new world of WWE, of pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is supposed to tap into every emotion, even if that means taking you back to your childhood once in a while. That's great. So seeing them there with their paper cutout championships, I loved it, man. Heavy Machinery came out and started taking their claim that they want the real tag team champions, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. And Bryan was like, you haven't even proven yourself, Heavy Machinery, but you can tonight. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll let you take on the Yolo County champions. And if you win, maybe you deserve a championship shot at our straps. So that's what happened. Heavy Machinery ended up having that jobber match with the Yolo County tag strap holders, and Heavy Machinery in just a couple of minutes end up winning. And if you listen to that crowd and you watch the enthusiasm in a jobber match, which some people say, oh, you're going to lose people's interest if you have too many jobber matches, go back and look. People were heavily behind Heavy Machinery, no pun intended. Heavily behind Heavy Machinery. It's fun. You got to see Heavy Machinery be badass, not just look like goofs like everybody else in 50-50 booking. So I liked it, man, and who knows, maybe Heavy Machinery gets a shot at the tag strap holders, maybe it's going to be at Stomping Grounds. Am I saying they're deserving yet? Maybe not, but who the fuck cares? It's Heavy Machinery. We all love fucking Otis especially, so it would be cool to see them at least get the shot. I don't know if Vince would have them win up front, but build them up. Jobber matches. It was so good to see 2 nights in a row a jobber match. It is so crucial to building superstars. Not even larger than life yet. Let's take baby steps. Let's just take a wrestler and make them a superstar. Legit. Jobber matches help do that. Even in today's wrestling. Even in today's society. Yes, I understand people's attention spans are all over the place and they're basically at a point nothing these days. But we will watch when we see people being badass. Nobody tuned in to watch Goldberg back in WCW have 10-minute matches. Nobody did. We tuned in to watch Goldberg annihilate 170 plus human beings in a row. It would have been more if Kevin Nash didn't go into business for himself. The first hour ends with Carmela and Sonya Deville. Carmela with a new fierceness in her arsenal. It was good to see. Even a suicide dive by Mella. And one of the best I've seen from the females in a long time. Go back and watch Carmela's suicide dive, man. Usually the females are really timid. Usually they're getting caught up on that middle rope. Carmela just said, fuck it, I'm flying. It was really good to see. In the end, it was all for naught, as again, the theme of the night was the numbers game caught up to Carmela, just like it did Miz earlier in the night. And Mandy Rose, with the distraction, led to Deville with a knee to Mella's dome piece. 1, 2, 3, Sonya Deville defeats Carmela. So, This was a decent match. Nothing good, but nothing tragic at least. And I don't know. Is this going to more Mandy Rose, Carmela? We know there was a little beef between them. Where was that? Money in the Bank? But I'm guessing that's all squashed by now, if that was indeed full-fledged beef and not a work. But either way, we know there was something between them. Whether it was real or a work, there was something between them, right? There was something not clicking. Maybe the writers caught on that there was some buzz, even though we saw that match on SmackDown a few weeks ago. Maybe they're thinking, hey, we can stretch this out to maybe Stomping Grounds. I have no idea. But Carmela and Sonya Deville was a match last night. I don't know. The theme of the night, as well as numbers game, catching up to people. The other theme of the night was, where is this leading to? I have no idea. Hour number 2 starts with the New Day and the return of Big E. Hey, that's cool, man. We like Big E. We like the New Day. The New Day is at that point, though, it's been for a while, where 50% of the time, yeah, they're fun. They make you laugh. They're a good act. And the other 50% of the time, they just seem stale. And you know I'm right. And for Big E, we wish a lot more for him. We want to see him kind of separate from the group and go on his own and get singles titles. You know, evolve. I understand the New Day makes Vince good money, or at least they did at one point. Don't know if they're still bringing that numbers. But I understand they made the company money, and I understand it's a go-to act for Vince McMahon. But at some point, you have to evolve in the company, evolve in the business. After years of this New Day gimmick, Big E is at that point, man. He's in his prime, but he's always going to be looked at as just a member of New Day. He has a lot more to offer. I just hope one day they give him that chance and opportunity. On the flip side, it's the same thing for Kofi Kingston. He's the WWE champion. We all should be perceiving him as the WWE champion. He should have all the spotlight, the shine on him. Instead, he's parading down there all the time as just a member of the New Day, slinging pancakes on his way to a big championship match. I don't need to see that. I don't want to from my champion. So at some point, this shit has to evolve. That's all I'm saying, man. But they return. And this is one of those things where you can't even blame the New Day. This was an insanely long promo. I'm talking nearly 15 minutes long. New Day's in the ring. Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, all up at the rampway. And they are just going back and forth for nearly 15 minutes. Literally, I think I tweeted out that I made 2 dinners, vacuumed, made booking arrangements for my next trip, saved an old lady from a burning building and painted on my walls, and that promo was still on. That promo was still going, I was going to say strong, but anything but. If anybody was still awake, you would know that that promo was still prolonging itself. That seemed so fucking long. I love the passion in Dolph Ziggler. I love the entertaining / funniness that comes out of Sami Zayn lately. We know the New Day can be good on the mic, so there was good in it. I just don't understand why it took that long. 15 minutes just to set up, guys. Just to set up the 6-man tag bullshit main event for later in the night, which was only 20 minutes afterwards. Because you're not going to tell me that sold Kofi and Dolph with 4 other human beings shouting at each other. That did nothing for me to tell me I need to see Kofi and Dolph in another rematch, this time in a steel cage at Stomping Grounds. No, you're not going to sell me on that match by throwing a 6-man tag bullshit match like you always do. And think that me, you, or any of us is going to be intrigued by that. So 15 minutes long. And then we get into a fucking over 20-minute 6-man tag match that nobody cared about. It was only broken up by a Bayley versus Nikki Cross match. Alexa was with Nikki Cross. Bayley ended this in just over 5 minutes with a Macho Man elbow from the top. I love seeing that. Bayley onto Nikki for the 1, 2, 3, while looking at Alexa Bliss the whole time. So this is adding to Alexa and Bayley at Stomping Grounds. Didn't really do too much. They used Nikki Cross as the vehicle for Bayley to get to Alexa. I just don't want to see Nikki Cross losing these type of matches. I don't feel she's ever really gotten a significant chance or push since she's been on the main roster. And now she's just Alexa's bitch. I don't like seeing that, man. I want to at least see if Nikki Cross can sink or swim on the main roster. She's not even be given a chance, man. I understand you had to have Bayley win that match. She's the champion, and she is going into a big match at Stomping Grounds with Alexa. And then, you know what the decision should have been then? You know how we fix this? If you shouldn't have Nikki Cross lose, but you have to have Bayley win, you know what you do? Here's a thought. You don't put them in the ring together. Because now you create a mess. But again, do they even give a fuck? Do they even know what they're doing? I honestly think Vince has an hour meeting, and that's even really long, given the shit that we're given. An hour meeting about his wrestling, and then after that, the next 23 hours in his day is about kicking off the XFL. Because this is just, it's not even cruise control. This is like texting and drive. It looks like the car is just all over the fucking place on the highway. It's not cruise control. Nothing is in order here. Nothing is going smoothly. That's cruise control. This is just an erratic driver. This is just chaos. And every pay-per-view is a crash into the rail, the guardrails. And again, that was the only real thing separating the 15-minute prolonged promo that solved nothing other than to get us to a 6-man bullshit main event. That was the only thing really separating the two. Aside from Mahal, here's something that would have entertained me, and did. R-Truth gets stuffed in one of those storage unit bins that the WWE production carries in their haulers for every show. They carry the fucking lightning electrical equipment. I can fucking speak today, man. I need another coffee. I apologize. Their electrical fucking equipment and all that stuff. You know, those big bins. Carmela and Truth hear somebody coming, so Carmela stuffs Truth in one of these bins, and then she runs off because she had her match. This was earlier in the night. And Mahal comes by, and Mahal hears R-Truth yelling, "Get me out of here." So Mahal is like, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Hold on. Trying to do it. I can't do it, man. I can't hit that octave. But he was trying to do like a Carmela or a female voice. And Mahal runs off to get a crowbar and a fucking referee. But later in the night when he comes back, they see that Truth has been moved. And Carmela's like, "Truth, where's Truth?" And the electrical guy with his little fucking tractor, he's carrying all these bins and loading them up. And we think that Truth is headed toward LA in one of these bins. So I haven't checked his social media or anything yet, so I have to see if Truth has put anything up. But that's the last we saw of that 24/7 segment. Truth has been fucking transported in one of these bins by accident. That was more entertaining than the entire fucking show. Oh, I'm sorry. And then they showed a replay of Bray Wyatt killing Ramblin' Rabbit. Which, as cringeworthy as that was, again, that with the 24/7 title is your only entertaining segments of these shows. And that is downright tragic if that's the case, because these are only supposed to be some of the comedic points. Then we got to the main event. New Day versus Dolph, Owens, and Zayn. Oh, fuck. I am not joking at all when I tell you I didn't care about this match at fucking all. This was a pathetic main event with nothing of substance on the line or for us to even care about. Another theme of the night. A theme for WWE in general. After seeing and hearing them bitch at one another for 15 minutes earlier in the hour, we then watched them for over 20 minutes in this bullshit 6-man tag. The go-home shows for Stomping Grounds, the go-home shows are next week. And we can already see the level of importance for this tragic train wreck of a pay-per-view, or the level of importance that Vince McMahon is placing on Stomping Grounds. Because again, the go-home shows are next week. Are you at all excited for this pay-per-view? Do you even know the card? I'm gonna save you because the matches we know now are all redundant, tragic, train wreck rematches. That's all this is right now. Bayley and Alexa, weren't they in one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life with the fucking Extreme Rules match, and all you saw was a little bit of a tapping with a kendo stick? Wasn't that Bayley and Alexa, if my memory serves me correct? Drew McIntyre versus Roman is one of the big matches they're hyping up. Didn't we just see a 10-minute match that was it at WrestleMania where Roman totally just exposed Drew McIntyre and all the things he was going to do to Roman and Roman Reigns just beat him simplistically in 10 minutes at WrestleMania? Why are we seeing this again? Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler again? I just saw this at Stomping. I'm sorry. That's WWE. It's finally getting to me. I just saw this at Super Showdown. Why do I need to see this at Stomping Grounds? And forget Super Showdown. I've seen it 127 times before that as well over the past 10 plus years. What's the Universal Champion? Oh yeah, another one. Baron Corbin, Seth Rollins. I just saw it Stomping Grounds. And 16 times in 2018. 6-man tags, tag team matches in some form or fashion. I've seen Corbin and Rollins in there a million times, it seems. That's only half the card. And I want to put my head through 16 cement walls here in New York City. Come on, man! Anyway. That was SmackDown Live. For June 11th, 2019. I don't know, guys. Listen, I understand Monday night, the NBA playoffs were on. There were some shows that were on that Vince knew he was going to get crushed, all right? I'm not going to give him a mulligan, but hey, maybe he gave up like he does often lately. I was expecting more last night. The first hour wasn't tragic. I got to see a jobber match. We got to see a little bit of a 24/7 title segment. Shane McMahon is cool to see on the show. I just don't know why he's a focal point. I mean, the first hour wasn't tragic. What made this show tragic was that second hour. They dedicated the whole hour to nothingness. Nothingness. And that's the truth, man. The go-home shows are next week. I don't know how you get anyone excited for this shit. Because not only could it actually end up being the worst pay-per-view of all time, on paper, it could look like the worst pay-per-view of all time. And that's really not going to get people excited. I don't know. I'll tell you what I'm excited about right now. I get to go for another fucking coffee right now. I'm probably going to double fist because I want a hazelnut and a vanilla latte. Both triple shotted. I know, man. I'm getting fucking wild today, man. We got a lot to do, man. There's a lot to get done today, so I do need a couple more coffees, man. I'm going to stroll into this next meeting double fisting, man. No doubt. Boom, boom. Let's get amplified. Yeah. All right, this is pre-coffee. Oh, man, this world's in a world of hurt today. Anyone who comes across the Amplified, man, move like Bruce Almighty, man, when he parts the fucking street and all the cars part ways. Amplified, man, coming through. For now, guys, obviously there'll be a bunch of content later this week, so stay subscribed, notified, and again, as always, much love and respect that you guys show to me, right back to you. The Amplified, man, check you.